What is going on, YouTubers? Welcome to another video. So I just played back-to-back God of War, the original game from 2018, and God of War Ragnarok, literally back-to-back. Took me about 2 weeks to do this, putting about 30 hours in Ragnarok, and God, I can't even remember how long it took me on the original one. But let's just say like 25 hours or 20 hours, because the original is definitely shorter than Ragnarok. I feel like Ragnarok has many more side quests and is a longer game. So I wanted to tell you guys overall which game I like more, what I like more about each game, and so forth. So there are definitely some things I prefer in the original God of War, versus Ragnarok. I mean, Baldur is the main villain, which you see right here. And, he's a good villain. You have some pretty epic fights. You fight him really just twice in the game, at the very beginning and the end. There's going to be spoiler alerts if you haven't played the games. Baldur's good. You fight Magni and Modi. It's really just like three gods per se. Magni and Modi are Thor's son, and there's quite a character development between Kratos and Atreus, his young son. I don't know how old Atreus is, but I would, garner he's probably like 10 years old here. And in Ragnarok, he's probably more like 14. It's a few years later in Ragnarok. And you can definitely tell Kratos is a little bit older in Ragnarok. He has more grays, a little bit more wrinkles. Just a little bit more. But one thing I really like about the original God of War, I love exploring all of Midgard, going on the boat, all the different lands. They're so fun to explore, the different realms. And I love, how Kratos is very almost like grumpy and always calling Atreus boy. He barely calls him his actual name. And then Mimir, he only calls him Mimir like once in the entire game. He just calls him Head. And I freaking love that. I love that about Kratos. You can definitely tell he's, still trying to get over his past when he was like this. He's definitely maturing, but he's still like grumpy. And I really just love how he just calls him Head. That's just awesome. Because in Ragnarok, I don't think he called him Head not once. It was Mimir the whole game. And Atreus, he only called him boy once when he was mad at Atreus for lying to him and storming out, and when he went to, Asgard. So he's like, boy! Other than that, he called him Atreus the entire time. You could definitely tell, in that game, Atreus is, even in the original God of War, Atreus becomes, like when he learns he's a god, he becomes super prideful and he thinks he can do what he wants, and he's bragging a lot. You can really tell that, Santa Monica Studios put a lot of work into the character development. And that's one thing I just love about God of War. The character development, the music is outstanding. I think it's slightly better in Ragnarok, if I'm honest. And Ragnarok, you obviously get a third weapon, the Drapnir Spear, which I love the spear. I freaking love it. I use it all the time. And, I will say though, I prefer the axe throwing in the original game. I did get like a power up that allowed me to throw it basically unlimited distance, but for some reason I just prefer the axe throwing in the original game and some of the moves in the original game, like the relic specialty moves. Outside of that though, Ragnarok is definitely a better overall game. From the beginning when Freya is attacking them to eventually becoming really, like forgiving Kratos in essence, teaming up, finding Tyr, which is actually Odin, and, the whole story, and then the villains. I mean, you get to fight, in essence, three gods as well, just like the original, but I think the gods are much better. First, you get Odin, the final villain, Thor, and freaking, what's his bucket? Heimdall. So those three villains are much better than Magni, Modi, and Baldur, in my opinion. And, the battles are much more epic fighting against those bosses. And I really like, the final battle against Baldur, how you're teaming up with, Atreus and doing like back-to-back fighting. I think that's so cool. But it's even more epic against Odin when it's Kratos, Atreus, and Freya, and like each of them are doing a move at the very end. It is so epic. It's so freaking good. It really gives me goosebumps, just like tears of joy. I swear it's that damn good. Costumes, they're, similar. I love both costumes in all the games. I think they're extremely good. I would put them, equal. But Ragnarok definitely has a lot more to do. Like even when the game is complete, you still get to play. Where this one, it kind of just like ends, once you're done. But Ragnarok, you do get more to do, more side quests after you're done. You could legit play this game for like hundreds of hours. Now, I am not the type of person that platinums games. Once I've done the main storyline, I might do like one or two things after it's done, and then I'm like, okay, I'm ready to move on. I couldn't, go and find every single Odin Raven and platinum it. That's just not me. I've never been that type of person. I know some gamers out there, they want to do every little waking thing, and they'll spend 200 hours, platinum that game. I've never platinumed a game. I will do all the major side quests and the fun ones, and maybe one or two after I've beat the game, and then that's it. I think my original run in Ragnarok was about 35 hours. My second go around 30 hours. I didn't do some of the same side quests because I'm like, I already did this. But there's definitely like some big ones, that I did do because they're just so fun. I fought all these dragons and it's not Niflheim, is it? Niflheim, I think. Where Freya's from. You take the magic boat, the Freya's boat, Freyor's boat, and there's some really good side quests in that area. Like I did a bunch. I spent like 7 hours doing that. So that was extremely fun. But overall for me, Ragnarok is the greatest video game I've ever played. I really think that. Kratos is the ultimate character. I also did the Valhalla DLC. I don't know how long that took me, but I played it basically all day. And, when you beat it, you get to meet younger Kratos and talk to him. And it's really cool to see younger Kratos in upgraded graphics. It really makes me want them to redo the original 3 God of Wars into one massive game, add some side quests, upgraded graphics to the new style and gameplay. I want them to redo all the gameplay to the newer Ragnarok style. Because I believe that could be one of the greatest, it'll be the greatest remaster ever, hands down. Because I love the original God of Wars, but I much prefer the newer style of gameplay. I just think it's much more fun. The original is great. It's more like a button mashing. You jump, you climb a lot. And the cameras are not as good. Upgrade that to the new style and new graphics. You got an absolute masterpiece. And I hear they are doing it when I Google it, but I don't know if it's official. But I would be so freaking happy to do that. Now, if I'm brutally honest, you guys know I'm doing my other Kratos bus, which apparently there's a holiday in Turkey that takes forever, so I'm not going to get that bus for months. But I wish I could go back and redo that bust and make it young Kratos. I think that'd be so much better. Have a young Kratos with that statue right next to it, right here. I would much prefer that. And what I may even do is completely remove his upper armor and do it classic style, because you get that armor in Valhalla, with like that under sash right there. And, you don't get like that. It's the, basically just no armor above, but you do get the wrist armor. But I may consider transforming the Blades one into the classic look, completely changing out all the armor. Maybe not the wrist armor, just keep that the same. It's covered in chains. But change the lower belt armor to the classic and just remove the upper body armor and have it as like a classic Kratos. You know what I mean? I almost want to update the logo to just be the original Omega logo. I could probably get a 3D printed one and remove his logo and just do the classic OG Omega one. And if I do that, I'll bring in my Blades of Chaos, my OG one. I got it wall mounted over here, with this poster. But I could totally bring this in, because I'm a huge fan of the original God of War. That was like one of my favorite PlayStation games. I would say God of War, Metal Gear Solid, the first game. Those are like Suikoden 1 and 2, especially 2. Those are like my favorite games growing up as a kid on PlayStation. So... But yeah, going back to the original topic, Ragnarok is the best video game ever. The best character development. That and Last of Us have the 2 best character developments for me, as well as Ghost of Tsushima. I would say those 3 games, Uncharted 4, Tomb Raider 1, Horizon Zero Dawn, those are like my favorite games. And then, of course, Final Fantasy 7. Those are probably like my absolute favorite games. But I was, working here actually, Gizmo playing with his toy, just admiring this bust. It is such a masterpiece. My brother Shark Fat came over, and he was agreeing with me that this is the best piece of my collection. He's like, dude, it is unreal how good this piece is. He's like, yeah, it was pricey, but it's something truly unique and special to my collection that no one else can say they have this. Even if they do a production run, nobody can claim they have the prototype but me. There's only one prototype, and it's in Flankster's cave. So, but yeah, folks, that's just my 2 cents. I really enjoyed replaying God of War 2018 and God of War Ragnarok. Such fun games. Now I'm going to play some Naruto game, and Elden Ring DLC's coming out. I actually just bought the game with the DLC because that's some Amazon reward points. So yeah, I'm going to definitely play that DLC in Elden Ring. I love Elden Ring. Story-wise, nothing. But gameplay and just exploration is some of the best ever. But yeah, anyways, folks, that's just my 2 cents. I'm really excited to see what the future of God of War is, because they said that Norse, this is the end. They didn't say it's the end of God of War forever. They're obviously going to keep making games. They're a business. It's one of the most popular franchises ever. This, Zelda, Final Fantasy, Resident Evil. So I'm real curious where they're going to take it, because in Valhalla, it kind of seems like Kratos is just becoming a god there. I'm going to assume some otherworldly mythology is going to force him to go there. Either Atreus is going to get let's say he's going to go to Egyptian mythology, and Kratos has to go save him. And all of a sudden there's a huge, crazy story there. That's definitely a mythology I would love. Would be Egyptian. There's also Japanese, Indian, that you could potentially do. I still think Greek is the best mythology, though. I like Greek more than Norse. I like Norse a lot, but Greek is the best. That's why I want them to redo the original 3 God of Wars. Because I actually replayed them all last year. But I know we're also getting an Amazon TV series of God of War. So, I'm definitely, a huge fan. Obviously, I got a tattoo of it. I spent so much money on this bust. I mean, if you consider Mimir, it's a $12,000 bust. But anyways, folks, that is it. Let me know your guys' thoughts and opinions below. Like, comment, subscribe. Have a great day.